Hi, this is Tina VanDerwerker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. I am here with Heather Stark from Stark Business Services. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Excellent. Oh, good, thanks. So tell me a little bit about your business and why you do what you do.
Sure, absolutely. So most people actually know me from my time with the Chamber of Commerce. Started out with Southern Saratoga Chamber and was acquired by Capital Region Chamber and spent a couple of years there too.
Mhm.
Um, what that did is that allowed me to expand my network. So networking all day, every day, meeting as many people as I could, getting to know everyone in the business
Right.
community.
Yeah.
That actually allowed me to kind of segue into what I do now. So I market myself as a bookkeeper. And yes,
Uh-huh.
I do the books, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of just the start of the relationship and what I do for my clients. So essentially, my clients come to me with a shoebox full of receipts, and
Mm,
we get everything organized. We get everything into software, and we get systems and processes in place so that the shoebox doesn't happen again.
nice.
Um, so that's the jumping off point. So we get the books up to date, and from there we start with some growth strategies and advisement. So when my clients come to me, they generally don't have very many processes in place, so we work
Mm,
together on systems that work for the client,
mhm.
and also work for me because I've got to do all the books. So we work very, very closely together to get those systems in place, and from there we work on growth strategy. And the reason I mentioned my network at the beginning was because we also utilize my network in order to have that growth strategy in place. So
Sure.
anything that my clients need that I can't handle, not my area of expertise, if you will, I have a network of about 3,000 people that I have sat down with that I know that I trust that I can refer to.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want my clients to be Googling like where to find a lawyer or how to get insurance. We don't do
Uh,
that here.
right. Right.
So my clients come to me for just about everything that they need, whether it's to start a bank account, buy a building, basically anything. And I generally have a person that I have a relationship with that I can facilitate that for them, or work with them during the process or hand it off. That doesn't happen very often. I'm usually pretty involved.
Yeah.
So I have very, very close relationships with my clients, and we work on everything together. Um, that being said, generally I work with businesses with uh, either just starting out or basically trying to get it together, if you will. Small 1 to 4 employees. Generally, I specialize with contractors. I
Okay.
just kind of fell into that. The contractors need kind of a special type of person. So
Yeah.
I'm that person that calls them and says, "Hey, you know what? I need your receipts. Hey, you know what? Your bank account's getting low. You need to make a transfer, etc." So
Yeah.
it's a little bit higher level of service, until we get a lot of processes in place. So I specialize with that particular market. But yeah, we come up with a lot of custom plans, and we make sure that everything's good for tax time.
Mhm.
That being said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
People
What
should.
what should they do for tax time to prepare for that?
Well, I mean, it obviously depends on where they're at, how involved they've been in the process throughout the year.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will start to panic this time
Mm.
of year. I have people calling me like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, we're a couple months away from year end." So I have a line currently of people that I'm either doing consulting for, so they're doing it themselves and just kind of run into some QuickBooks hurdles,
Mhm.
which there's a lot of QuickBooks hurdles. So
Yeah.
for the people that do it themselves, I'll help them with some quirks in the system. I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor, so I'm actually certified by QuickBooks to use and teach QuickBooks.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, isn't that fun?
That's
Sometimes
fun.
QuickBooks is the bane of my existence, but
Yeah.
other people too. So I'm here to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, it's a lot of nuances and things that you wouldn't know unless you use the program a lot. So I kind of help guide people along the way for consulting services. But my full service clients, I do almost everything for them. So they kind of don't have to worry about it. Like, get me your receipts, get me your bank statements. I'll just take care of it for you.
Yeah.
But people who are handling it on their own, who are not looking for a full service situation, definitely one of the number one reasons that people get audited by the IRS is mileage. So those daily mileage logs, those are very important. And I tell my clients all the time, keep a book in the truck, use a mileage app, etc. A lot of my clients are liking the book. So I make them a laminated, because oil and wood chips and what have you with my contractors. I make them a laminated book to write their mileage down in. And they do that every day, starting, ending, and the purpose of their trip. And that kind of helps them be covered for that. Saving receipts. I mean, it's annoying asking for a receipt everywhere you go, but it's super important. And generally, one of the suggestions that I have, just in the event of an audit, is that you write either the client that it's for on the receipt. If it's a dinner receipt, you're going out to dinner with a client or a job interview, etc., business related. Write, just jot it down on the receipt, who you're with, what it's for. I mean, sometimes you'll be the only one who can understand those notes, but that's okay, because that's justification and you'll be able to explain it.
As long as somebody understands it.
I know, right?
Yeah, because
write in whatever language you want, as long as you know what it is. Obviously, if you're working with a bookkeeper, they also need to speak that language.
Right.
But yeah, that's two of the very important things that you need to do. I mean, you can pull your bank transactions, your credit card transactions, but if you can't justify those during an audit, you're gonna have a problem.
Sure.
But those daily mileage logs and those receipts, very, very important should something happen. I mean, you can use the fingers crossed method, like it won't happen to me.
Right. I hope it doesn't.
Wouldn't bank on that, really.
Right.
Also, things that people tend to either forget about conveniently or just kind of blow off, quarterlies. So everybody thinks about income tax. Everybody thinks about the end of the year.
Right.
You also need to think about the taxes during the year. So there's two sets of quarterly taxes depending on what your business is. So you have sales tax filing, and you also have estimated income tax.
Okay. Yeah.
So those are two things that you either need to work with your bookkeeper or your accountant on to make sure that you're keeping up on those as well. And depending on the industry, it's different. And New York State, right? New York State is something else. So definitely, if you're working on your taxes on your own, make a friend who does taxes. So, I actually work very, very closely with a particular accountant named Jason. Did you do an interview with Jason?
I will be next.
Nice. So I work very, very closely with Jason because I don't personally file taxes. I do everything in preparation for taxes, and then I hand it off to whichever tax professional the client works with, whether they have a current accounting firm or we work with Jason, but we work together all year on tax strategy.
Nice.
So we meet usually on a monthly basis just to check in and talk about, what the clients have going on. If there's any weird things that I have questions on, like, oh, this is quirky, like how does this fit into the tax strategy? So it's very important that all year round you're thinking about taxes. I know it's super annoying.
Yeah.
But it's
then it saves you at the end of the year. You don't have this whole mad rush to like get everything together. And where was that, donation I made in February or
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's also very important throughout the year as well that you're getting your questions answered at a time when your tax professional or accountant or bookkeeper are not going completely insane.
Absolutely.
So if you ask me a question after April 15th-ish, like April 18th, if we're waiting till April 20th and you ask me a question, I'm gonna get back to you immediately. It's gonna be fine. We can have a chat about, your kids and your dog. And you call me January to April, I'm like, okay, here's the answer to your question. I got you. Like, send me an email if you have anything else. I'm going to try to get back to you as soon as I can. So
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
It
it's
is a
very
little
important to keep up on that during the year and have your questions answered at a time when more time can be put into it. And, you know, having that plan throughout the year is just so important.
Yeah.
The people
Yeah,
who,
because
the
then you
people who
can
come to me
also,
generally are those once a year, like, oh yeah, we have everything together. It's just in this box.
right. You're like, great, that gives me 2 weeks to figure it out.
Yeah, like, or the it's okay, I filed an extension.
Yeah,
We're still on a deadline.
right. It's not an
So yeah, I mean,
infinite extension.
it's just so much easier to spend 15 minutes a month than, you know, 15 hours once a year.
Right.
So
Right.
it's definitely good to be proactive for sure.
Yeah. Well, and what you can also do is, you know, not only figure out what they did this year, but then also like, okay, with this information, how should we plan moving forward? So that, you know, you are strategizing with taxes that they may owe or not, in order to not owe so many taxes or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can give them those steps like, okay, here's this information for now. We'll file, you know, give it to the accountant to file or CPA. And then move forward, this is what we want to do to set your business up for even greater success.
Yes, absolutely. And then we
Yeah.
also have the you are a couple $1,000s away from being in a different bracket. So you need to do you have an expense that you were going to do in January that you can do now? Because you might want to do that.
Right.
So
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I mean, if you plan ahead, those are things that can be considered ahead of time rather than, oh man, we should have done this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't like that
earlier.
We don't like that. Oh, shucks. Maybe we'll
Right,
get it next year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Have your clients been impacted by the market a lot as far as, you know, how they have to plan for their finances and, you know, maybe not being able to purchase things and having to put it off because of the supply chain issues and all that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I've seen impact, like I mentioned, I spend a lot of time working on contractors. And
Right.
I have a bunch of clients that are contractors. So
Yeah.
contractors generally are driving a big truck
Mhm.
and they are towing equipment. They are, you know, having to spend a lot on gas.
Yeah.
So that has definitely impacted the bottom line for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not only that, the prices of everything have gone up. So what I've been working with with all of my clients across the board, not even industry considered, is pricing strategy based on how much labor has increased and also how much cost of goods sold has increased. So the things that they're putting into their product to have their finished product. So this is what I've seen kind of across the board. And I do help clients with writing contracts.
Mhm.
So there's different things in the contracts that we've had to change, subtly or not so subtly. Like the price, obviously we're saying, okay, the price has to go up. Like everything has gone up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think people expect that at this point,
yeah.
although, you know, as a business owner, you probably don't want to pass on the price increase to your customers, but at the same time, you're in business. So you have to think about the bottom line and make sure that you're still positive at the end of the year.
Well, and then with shortages, like especially impacting, I work with some cleaning companies. Supplying toilet paper. Oh no, right? Supplying garbage bags. So it's little things like that as well. You know, we're no longer supplying this, please keep stock, or so on and so forth. So it's things that you don't want to have to do, but because of supply chain issues and demand, you have to.
Yeah.
So it's one of those fine lines between, you know, providing excellent service for your customers and also being able to support your business at the same time.
Yeah. Or it's like, I can supply these things, but it's going to cost you X. You know, so decide, you know, if you can find it cheaper somewhere else and have it here, fine. If not, I'm happy to do it, but this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's the same thing for me too. I don't actually have really physical goods.
Right.
So, but my QuickBooks subscriptions, I pay for my clients' QuickBooks subscriptions, and those have all gone up.
Okay.
So that's another thing that I have to consider, for my business as well. So it's not just supply chain, it's across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. All services have kind of gone up. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. So so along the lines of kind of keeping them organized, putting in the systems and, working with them throughout the whole process, that's kind of how you help them grow, as a business. If they come to you and say, look, I'm drowning, I need employees, like you can kind of talk them through the best way to kind of strategize that and, help them grow either with services they can provide or with hiring new people.
Yep. And we also kind of talk about different products, because once we can track what's going into each product or service and how much they're making from it, we can kind of say, okay, you know what, you're losing money on this service, but you're making a lot on this. Maybe we should focus on selling more of this and maybe phasing this out or coming up with a different strategy for it. So it's across the board, everything we do. Ultimately, my goal for my clients is for them to graduate me. So we start out when they're small, and we work throughout the process. We're a team.
Yeah.
I'm their ally. So we work really, really closely together, and their success is my success. We get excited together. They call me and they're like, oh my gosh, this happened. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. So like
awesome.
we're very close, but I mean, ultimately I want them to get too big for me.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's where my passion has kind of always been, is helping out the smaller businesses.
Right.
So, I mean, when I was with the chamber, I focused on a lot of small businesses and what we could do to kind of help them get their name out there and help them grow. So I'm doing the same thing, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Well, a lot more hands-on.
That's why I do these interviews, is because it helps, small businesses get recognized. And then if I can bring, the network to them and, help them grow their business, then it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's just so important for our small businesses to succeed and to grow. And I mean, you can't be an expert at everything.
No.
You can't do it on your own. And that's kind of why I've spent, 15 years meeting people and trying to find as many people as possible that I can trust to refer other people to. Yeah. Like one of my main things that I tell everybody is, please utilize me as a resource. My network is huge. And, I have a lot of great people that I know that can help.
Yeah.
So I don't know everything. So that's why I have to utilize.
But you have people.
I can't help you with everything, but I can help you with everything.
You can find the right person to help you with the thing that you can't help them with.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's just a testament to the power of networking. It's
absolutely.
Just amazing. And anybody who wants to reach out to me to say, hey, you know what, I need this one particular thing and I can't find anybody who does it, I probably help.
You probably can. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want anybody to know about you or your business or what you want to do?
Well, I want to meet everyone and utilize everyone as a resource and add them to my network. So, I mean, whether we can do business together or not, I want to meet everyone. I know that's super broad, but that is just kind of what I do. I want to be able to know as many people as possible so that we can utilize each other as resources. I never network to get clients. I always network to get resources, and the clients just show up. I know that sounds really weird, but when you know people and you get to know people on a personal level, that's just kind of how it works. So I don't network to get clients. I network to get resources for my clients and to help other businesses. Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. So anybody who wants to chat, I'm I'm ready for a chat.
All right, well, sounds good. Thank you so much for meeting with me. Heather Stark with Stark Business Services, and I am Tina VanDerwerker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.